Hello and welcome to the Digital Signage Guide. This week we're going to be looking at tagging. Now, what are the benefits of tagging and what does tagging do? Well, when you're looking at delivering your playlists of content, so let's say for example you've got one extra large playlist that goes to every single device that you have. That might be your easiest experience. So for example, let's take you're in retail and you'd like to deliver digital signage content, and predominantly most of this is identical across the board. It makes no sense to have a playlist per device because then you're going to have to manage lots and lots of playlists when you're making changes. So what you've opted to do is make a full playlist with lots of content. Let's have a look here and see this. So we've got some content on the screen right now. I might have a range of different content that I want to display, just dependent on what you're looking to display and when. So for example, you might have your afternoon, your morning and your evening content. That's great, nice and simple for your content creators or yourself to manage. However, let's skew that slightly and say that actually instead of one store location with one screen, you have 20 or 30 store locations with 20 or 30 different screens, but predominantly they all run the same exampled content. So what we want to do when we're talking about tagging is say, in the instance or in the case where one piece of content needs to be changed or uniquely modified, rather than making an entirely brand new playlist for this one modification, why don't we go and completely change that way that we deliver the content? Okay, so here in the studio we've got our 5 devices. Now if we imagine that these are 5 completely different countries, what I can do is highlight a particular device, add a tag to that particular player, let's call this London, just to make it nice and easy. And then we're going to save it. So that player now has London associated with it. We could go into the next asset here, or the next player, and we're going to associate a new player tag with that one. We're going to call this LA, and we're going to add that tag. Now, just to complicate things a little bit further, we've actually got 2 players in Paris. So I'm going to highlight 2 more players, manage them, and call that Paris. Okay, so now we've got 4 different players with 4 different tags associated with them. Some of them are identical, some of them are not, and you can obviously have as many different tags as you want associated with them. So if you want to regionalize this or go down to the level of each individual location, or potentially if you're in corporate communications and you want to send things to more privatized digital signage versus those that are more open to your end users, you can use these tags to create these groups. And now all I simply need to do when I go to my playlist manager and open up, let's say, our COVID playlist trigger here, I can add in a new piece of content and double click on that piece of content and say, even though I know that this playlist goes to all of my global screens, what I'm actually going to do is set a condition to it and say this particular asset is only going to display on all tags, any tags, or players that don't have particular tags, and you can really filter that to your own preference. So for example, I might say, do you know what, this particular asset, I only want to show it in LA. So even though this playlist is being sent to every single country to make this playlist management really easy, we know that this particular asset here plays on players only if they have the LA tag. This making tag much easier for getting to those global requirements that you have when it comes to delivering digital signage en masse, something that we're really focused on here at Signagelive. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Otherwise, we'll speak to you on the next one.